All right, everyone. Wow. Wow. This is phenomenal. A standing room only night. Thank you for being here for this really newly reimagined State of the School event. My name's Gray Hulick. I serve as the Parent Association Vice President this year, and I'm really pleased to kick things off. Look at this space, the newly renovated gym. I mean, let's just give a hand to where the place that we're actually sitting in right here. It's just a wonderful opportunity for North Shore Country Day families to better understand the work that their students are currently doing, and also have a glimpse into what the future looks like, right? You might be in lower school, but you're going to get a glimpse into what things look like into middle and upper school, and so on. My job is to give you a little bit on structure tonight before I hand things over to Tom. This night will include a presentation from our head of school, some keynote remarks from each division, and a science fair style gathering, which I know many of you have already visited, that will really have opportunities to talk to the different teachers and, most importantly, the students who are actually doing those activities and having those experiences. Now, super importantly, there are stickers that you can gather if you have a map, and there will be exciting prizes for those who collect 5 or more stickers. So if you were out there before and you didn't get any stickers, if you got 1 or 2, head back out there after this. We will not talk for too long because those prizes are well worth it. In addition, we have 2 folks that will be giving tours of the gym at the end of this program. So it's not just this room and what you're seeing behind me, but there are additional spaces, again, well worth seeing before you leave. And lastly, before I turn it over to Tom, I would be remiss if I did not highlight a few also very exciting events that are coming up in the month of January and early February. First, Beat the January Blues Paddle Tennis Social. This is Saturday, January 18th. It's at the Winnetka Platform Tennis Facility. I am told you do not need to know how to play paddle, nor be good at paddle to enjoy the fine company of your fellow parents. There is also a very important teens and social media opportunity, what parents need to know. That is a talk that's taking place on January 21st at 8:30 in our cafeteria. Also importantly, the Dunk Alls basketball bash, try saying that several times, and that begins Saturday, January 25th here in the Mac Gym. 2 more things. 3rd annual Heritage Potluck Celebration. This is quickly become one of the favorite events on campus. That's February 2nd in the Mac Gym. That's a Sunday. And lastly, but not least, we do have our annual benefit that's coming up on February 21st. That benefit benefits our teachers, and that's at Michigan Shores Club. There's dinner, drinks, and a live auction, as well as a paddle raise. It is definitely a not-to-be-missed event, and the proceeds that we raise go towards our school and the teachers this year. So with that, I will turn it over to Tom.
Great, thank you so much. I also want to say thank you to the people who did an incredible amount of work we're going to hear a lot about reimagining, about redoing this event, and namely that's Kristen Kaczynski, Mullery Dorr, Gia Anais, and Jonathan Gibby, who have been the driving force. So a formal thank you to all of them. And I'm sorry that there are some seats still available if you'd like to slide on through. I knew this building was too small when we designed it, and nobody listened, but we're going to have to add on to it, I guess. So welcome, everyone. Thank you to those of you who are regulars at the State of the School night, and to those of you who are here for the first time, especially if you are new to North Shore this year. This is reimagined in that the best part of reimagining is it's not just me that you're listening to, and that is a good thing. because what we want to do tonight is give you a chance to not just listen to someone describe what happens, but to try to give you a better sense of actually seeing it, hearing it, feeling what happens here at school, how your kids live each day. And that really is about how we teach and all of those sorts of things. There's a huge sign on this computer that says only touch the left and right arrows. So, Jonathan, thank you for that. I will do my very best to hear that. But what we're hoping is that after you hear from a wide variety of voices tonight, you will get out and you will explore. You will discover. You will get your hands dirty a little bit, just like the kids do every day. And a lot of what this is about is showing you how we do things, not just talking about what it is that we do. And for me, the how is the most important part, and it's about intentionality. So as you'll see when you go out onto the gym floor, our students, our teachers are paying attention not just to what they are teaching and learning, but how they are doing it and why they are doing it. Attention to all of these aspects is how we ensure that a North Shore education remains excellent. So students can reach their full potential, so they gain the values, the skills, and I went too far. Hold on. That was the problem. The values, the skills, and the confidence that is going to allow them to thrive in a very complex world and hopefully make it better. So what kind of a student, what kind of a graduate can accomplish that goal? I have a little bit of context, and I kind of blew the surprise because the slide I hit was out of order. But I want to talk to you a little bit about this quote. And I've used this before, but I'm going to build it out a little bit tonight. So this was a group meeting that happened a couple years ago, and they got a whole bunch of college presidents together with a bunch of heads of school from independent schools around the United States. And they're like, what should we be doing? How do we need to prepare kids for your universities, for your colleges? And how are you preparing them for the world ahead? And this was sort of the statement that they came out with at the end. We are looking for complex problem solvers who know how to collaborate and lead in diverse settings. That's the end goal of a North Shore education. It's that our students will take the great education they get and they will use it to make this world a little bit better, that they will live and serve. It's such an important part of what we do that it's been our school motto since the 1920s. The problems that these kids are going to have to solve on our behalf are more complex than they've ever been before. And the answers aren't in the back of the book. The answers are not on a multiple choice test, and the answers are not even easily Googleable anymore. So to solve these complex problems, the students are going to need more than information. They're going to need a toolkit, and they're going to need a toolkit that can adapt to various situations, ambiguous situations. They need to ask the right questions, choose the right tools, collaborate across disciplines, and work with people that might not be just like them. And this you've seen before if you've been here, but we're going to build this out a little bit because on the screen, this is what we see as the core fundamental skills that students need to thrive in the world to come. So you can see the future if you're looking at the middle and the upper schools tonight. Also, we're talking about the future, sort of capital F future in a lot of ways. What is it that we're trying to do with education? So if you've ever walked into JK, you've been greeted by one of our little friends, right? They come up to you and they say hello and they say, welcome to JK. If you have an 8th grader or you've had an 8th grader, they've built a monument as part of their humanities projects. If you've had a junior, they have written a very long paper or 2 or 3 with Kathy McHugh that helps them to understand themselves and their place in the world. All of those are purposely cultivating values, skills, and confidence. And for the sake of time, because we have other people who are more important to speak, I'm going to talk about just one of those skills, and that's collaboration. Okay? Collaboration is a value. When students learn to truly see their peers, identify and respect and celebrate differences, and seek common ground, they are building bridges that go beyond the classroom. They develop a mindset that prizes inclusivity and celebrates diversity. Collaboration is a massive, important value and part of what we do here. But it is also a skill. We intentionally teach through project-based group work, basically forcing students to collaborate. In doing so, they learn how to navigate conflict, leverage diverse talents, and achieve shared goals. They figure out that when tackling shared problems, collaboration is the smart thing to do. And finally, collaboration builds confidence. Through collaboration, each student discovers that their voice matters, their unique skills have value, and that everyone can have a meaningful impact on a common problem. This is earned confidence, the kind that's born of self-awareness and resilience and the satisfaction of overcoming a challenge. And finally, if we go back to that original quote from those college presidents, it's not an accident that they emphasized diverse settings for two main reasons. First, it's because we know that the neuroscience and the cognitive psychology shows that diverse teams in both education and business routinely outperform homogeneous teams. Also, the diverse settings the college presidents mentioned refer to the uncertain or variable settings that future problem solvers like our kids will need to navigate. So we value and strive to create a community culture of belonging because we know that for all of our students to achieve their best, they need to feel that sense of belonging, of mutual respect, of being valued for who they are, and feel support and energy and commitment from everybody around them. Then they can develop the skills and the confidence that they need. And that's a primary reason this year that we're taking the time to look holistically at all of our initiatives around inclusion and belonging to make sure that we are accomplishing those goals and supporting our values, our skills, and our confidence. So that's just one of the core skills that we emphasize in every grade JK-12. If you were wondering, through the end of that process, our graduates, and we heard from a panel of graduates just last week, consistently report that because of their work here, they are extremely well prepared for college and beyond. And we have a couple of graduates and even out of college graduates who are out manning some of the tables tonight. So as they say, don't just take my word for it. Next, you are going to hear from a few folks who will illustrate these larger themes across the different divisions. And then you'll see out at the tables in the gym elements of a transformative education that asks students to engage and strive to build the values and skills and confidence they'll need to shape a better world. So now we're going to start and hear from Caitlin McKinnon from the lower school. Two arrows.
Right arrow. Hi. Every day when you walk around the lower school, you can look into any classroom that we have and you'll see students developing the skills that Tom was just talking about, building those values. And I'm going to speak briefly about how our reading program in the lower school does this work, highlighting fourth grade in particular to showcase this. Our fourth grade teachers, Jackie Haug and Pippa Nimwea, are here tonight. They're at a beautiful booth out there in the gym. So if you have any follow-up questions too, I know they'll be happy to talk with you after. Jackie and Pippa have a wealth of fourth grade knowledge and teaching experience. And we were talking recently about reading in fourth grade, and they shared with me that something that they see often in intake conferences when we do those with fourth grade parents, something that they hear a lot is a parent describing their student saying, I know they're a good reader, they've developed these strong foundational skills here, and I'm worried though that they might read Dogman for the rest of their years. And I have a third grader right now whose book selections don't extend much beyond Dogman right now, but I was assured that this is actually a pretty common occurrence. And graphic novels are really popular with our second and third graders and beyond for really good reasons. And our fourth grade teachers are here to help students start to make this transition into reading across genres and really developing into these well-rounded readers who can think critically and communicate effectively and develop into lifelong readers. At the start of fourth grade, the teachers introduce what they now call the fourth grade reading challenge. It used to be called the 40 book challenge. They've retitled it. Part of this, they talk to their students in the beginning of the year about setting a goal for how many books they want to read throughout the duration of fourth grade. Students will still often choose 40 books as their goal. And even though they select that goal, it's a goal that intimidates them. It's a really lofty, they're coming from third grade, and this feels like a really, really big challenge. And they're nervous about it, but excited and really eager to see how they're going to accomplish that. And their books have to span a variety of genres. So, right arrow. There's a graphic on here. You can see this genre tracker. So, while they still can read those graphic novels that they love, part of this challenge is that they have to extend beyond that. They have to read books across this variety of genres as they develop. So this program really is focused on their growth as readers and individuals. And we're forcing the students to really step outside their comfort zones a little bit as readers and tackle new types of books. And in this process, our students are learning how to have an open mind when they encounter a new situation and have this openness to growth. Throughout the fourth grade year, we really see students start to take ownership of their progress and start to contribute to a collective excitement about books in their classroom and beyond. They practice meaningful collaboration. So they're building these skills that we just heard Tom talking about as they participate in book buzzes, as they call them, where they share and discuss the books that they've read and create want to read lists. They're articulating their thoughts with each other. They're persuading their peers. They're actively listening. They're fostering these many essential communication skills that we all strive to develop in our students across all of the disciplines and all divisions. It's been really incredible to hear our fifth grade teachers share their observations the past couple of years as they notice their students coming into fifth grade with this really strong reading stamina. That's very impressive. And it's necessary for what we're asking them to do as they work independently and often in student-led groups to read and analyze texts and think critically about themes and character development. And our students are ready to tackle these challenges in fourth and fifth grade because of what they've been doing since junior kindergarten and senior kindergarten. Some of you will be coming back in about 2 weeks. Some of you have been here in years past. Some of you will be here next year for senior kindergarten and first grade reading night, a really fun event that gives you a glimpse into how reading begins in the lower school. We're working with our students from the time they start here in junior kindergarten to see themselves as readers. And we know that reading is more than just learning letters and sounds. It's more than just comprehension and fluency and phonemic awareness and vocabulary. It's also these conversations that they're having with each other, with their classmates, their book discussions, making connections, recommending books to each other. Those collaboration skills that we heard about, they're using that in their reading classes every day. At a certain point, we see this really incredible shift from students who are learning to read into students who are reading to learn. And the work that we're doing in the earliest years, all the way through fifth grade and beyond, is intended to develop these lifelong readers who engage with others, who think critically, and take what they've learned out into the world to make a difference. Our students will be really well prepared for middle school. And I know up next we'll be hearing from Megan and Kirk more about how they take these skills and apply them with their students during the middle school years in humanities in particular.
Good evening. My name is Megan Baudouin, and I teach 8th grade humanities English.
And I'm Kirk Greer, teach 8th grade humanities social studies and also social studies in the upper school and lead our rapidly growing Model UN program.
And of course, we also remember what it was like to be middle school students ourselves.
Or if you're like me, you may choose not to remember what it was like to be a middle school student. So our 8th grade curriculum is a synthesis of the 6th grade focus on global studies and the 7th grade focus on American studies. And we try to weave together the ways in which Chicago history influenced global history and how global history shaped Chicago history. And while our students certainly master the content in the scope of our course, beginning with the competition between French and British and American and native nations on the very land where we are sitting today at the beginning, all the way to our study of McDonald's and Jordan and the era of globalization at the turn of the millennium. All of that content is in service of the skills that you can see here on the screen that are the core of the mission that Dr. Flemma described for you moments ago.
So, through this course, it's really our hope that students become more empowered and confident in themselves. Our goal is to provide experiences that will challenge our 8th graders to really step out of their comfort zones and become more active participants in the study of Chicago's history. So, whether that's participating in a student led Harkness style discussion or designing a monument, as Dr. Flemma noted, in honor of Chicago's founder, Jean Baptiste Dusable, we really challenge our students to take risks. And here tonight to speak about some of their experiences are 2 of our incredible 8th graders.
Good evening. My name is Vasu Sarakanti. In September of 2024, we traveled to Washington, D.C. as a class. And before we left for Washington, D.C., we all chose a monument or memorial and worked in small research teams to learn more about the design and history of that work of public art. The monument I was assigned was the Iwo Jima Marine Corps Memorial. Along with 2 other students, we researched and presented on and created a presentation about the monument. I learned about the importance of appreciating people who served our country in many ways. Instead of just looking at a picture on a screen like I've done with a lot of other presentations in the past, I was able to travel to the memorial and observe what the statue was really like. I remember being surprised at how enormous it was in person. Being able to experience the monument after learning its meaning meant more to me than if I just went there on a tour. I was challenged by the fact that we not only had to learn the history of the memorial, but the meaning of the artistic elements as well. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Potoff, and this fall we read and analyzed William Shakespeare's comedy, The Tempest. We focused on the character Caliban and one of the first depictions of colonialism in European literature. Since the writing style of the plays were different back then, we had to learn what some of it meant. For example, instead of have, it was written as hast, and you was said as thee or thou. But then, rather than simply annotating and discussing the play, we put it on its feet with props and costumes. Throughout the creation of our play, we got to work together to block scenes, and some of us even added our own choreography. For every scene, a student director was assigned to help make sure everything ran smoothly. Please join us at our table in the gym to see Saisha and Callista perform a scene from our production.
Another way in which we encourage experiential learning in our curriculum is by engaging with experts. So pictured here are last year's 8th graders interacting with Peter Cole. He's a professor at Western Illinois University, and he led us on a tour of Bronzeville to retrace the steps of some of the unfortunate and horrific racial violence that took place in Chicago in the summer of 1919. We've designed an entire unit to try to understand the causes of that racial violence, and the tour is a culminating experience where the students get to retrace the steps of some of those horrific days and be in the spaces where some of that violence happened and where much of the resistance happened as well. Peter is also the founder of the committee to commemorate those who fell victim to the racial violence in that summer, and he's led a program to install micro memorials throughout the city to commemorate, to honor the memory of some of those victims. So in addition to that example of interacting with experts, Megan has arranged for our students to meet with several novelists that we've read their books, including Aidan Polydoros, who wrote The City Beautiful, and also to help Callista and Sophia and all of our and Saisha perform The Tempest. Tristan Brandon, who's a director at the Idle News Theater Company here in Chicago, also joined in many times to give more background and to help train the students in their performance.
To further our engagement with the community, each April we travel to several or various neighborhoods in throughout Chicago during Community Engagement Week. Students continue to interact with experts, visiting sites that connect directly with our curriculum, such as the Chinese American Museum of Chicago and the murals. We go on a mural tour that's very amazing in the Pilsen neighborhood, and these connect directly to what they're studying in social studies and really complement the curriculum there. Last year, students also created short documentaries on their experiences and took part in our first annual Perry Awards, named in honor of our founder, and it was a lot of fun for the students.
And on that theme of fun, you can just see all of the wonderful memories that our 8th graders are walking away with from their experience this year.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angie Orr, and I'm a member of the middle school and upper school mathematics department. I have the distinct honor and privilege. I feel like a really excited parent here, but they're not my kids. To introduce a few of our students who will be speaking with you this evening about both their mathematical experiences at North Shore, as well as they're going to give you a little snippet of one of the collaborative projects that they have worked on this year in their multivariable calculus class. I, too, am a parent of 2 young people who are both here at North Shore, and I have them here because I feel really blessed that they have the opportunity for personal growth that has been talked about this evening. And my approach to teaching is grounded in those long-term goals for all of the students here. I would be remiss if I didn't take a quick moment to acknowledge the incredible talents and dedication that these students have towards their academic work. In our department, we value developing critical thinkers, complex problem solvers who, upon leaving our campus, will thrive in an independent setting where the onus is on them for the ownership and advocacy of their learning. They are able to find and utilize resources, collaborate, and communicate highly technical concepts to diverse groups of people, and have the confidence in their abilities, and most importantly, have the fortitude to know how to bounce back when encountering setbacks. These students most certainly exemplify all of these traits and so much more. And with that, I present to you Amanda, Nolan, Izzy, and Simon.
Hi, so I'm Izzy Henry, and as Miss Storr mentioned, we're going to be sharing our presentation with you and talking about some of what we love at a part of North Shore's mathematics. And so something I've really loved about my math journey at North Shore is that math really just isn't in a textbook. We get to learn so many about real-world applications, but there are also things that are interesting to us. So as you'll hear my classmates and I talk about, a lot of us are actually interested in like engineering and aerospace. And so this project was very relevant to us. And if you ever come into our math classroom, you will not just see us like on our desks, reading textbooks and on iPads, but we're up collaborating together on a whiteboard, which I really enjoy because I learn just as much from my peers as I do from my teachers.
My name is Amanda, and just to add on what Izzy just said, math is not really only theoretical. When you see them applied in different subjects, it makes it much more interesting to learn about. Just to name some of my favorite projects in the past years, in pre-calculus class, we did a daylight hour project, which was really fun. If you want to learn more about it, definitely go to our booth. And also in Calc BC, we did an optimization project where I actually got to optimize a packaging of a cookie. And then for this project that we are going to be presenting, it's Kepler's Laws project. You can see how it's used in aerospace engineering, which is really exciting. So we actually proved Kepler's first, second, and third law, but now because of time, we're going to talk to you about Kepler's second law, which states that the line joining the sun to a planet sweeps out equal areas in equal times. As you can see on the graph, if you travel equal time, it's the same.
Jump straight into the proof. We're given the prompt up in yellow, along with the position of the planet, which is the vector r, or the inconstant radius, as well as the equation h equals r cross b. So first, let's get b. B is the velocity vector, or the change in the rate of change of the collision vector. So we'll use the product rule to get that. And next, we're going to use the cross product, which is a mathematical operation which takes two vectors and finds the resultant vector that is combined both of them, as seen in this diagram right here. And the way we solve the cross product is we put both of the vectors into a three-vector matrix with unit vectors I hat, j hat, and k hat. Take the determinant and simplify algebraically. We have the cosine squared, sine squared, trig identity there, which cancels them out, gives us exactly what we wanted,
And I know this looks like some more scary math, so I won't go into too much detail about the proof. But what I will point out about this step was this is actually a portion of the project where we stumbled a little bit, and we were trying to use rectangular integration when we needed to use polar integration. And so the four of us really worked together, and we consulted Miss Orr, and we consulted Google and our mathematical toolbox from our previous calculus classes to ultimately arrive at the equation for the polar area of a sector. And then we used Newton's second fundamental theorem of calculus, as well as polar integration and implicit differentiation to ultimately arrive at what we were trying to prove.
Now, the best part, after you did every section, you can put them together and actually prove what you want to prove. So for this problem, we wanted to deduce that dA over dt is 1/2 h, and that's a constant. This will tell us that the rate at which A is swept out is constant and help us prove Kepler's second law. So from Izzy's part, we got that dA over dt is 1/2 r squared d theta over dt. And from Simon's part, we got h equals r squared d theta over dt. Now, if you see something in common, and that tells us that if you substitute it inside, it's going to be much more simpler. So if you substitute h into the above equation, you get dA over dt is equal to 1/2 h. And since vector h was a constant vector, h, which is the magnitude of it, is also going to be a constant. We have proved that dA over dt is going to be a constant, which is what we want to use to prove Kepler's second law.
Hi, I'm Nolan Darniter, and now I'll get to the part where it may make a little more sense. So this is the applications of Kepler's law. So we were given a few problems in which we were able to apply these proofs and solve, I guess, real world problems. So the question we chose was, it is possible to place a satellite into orbit about the Earth so that it remains fixed above a given location on the equator. Compute the altitude that is needed for such a satellite. And with that, we were given the mass of the Earth as well as the radius. But first, it's important to understand what kind of orbit this is. So my favorite part of the project is this little GIF I found. And so the blue is a geostationary orbit, but this orbit that we are solving for is a type of orbit called Clarke's geosynchronous orbit, named after the mathematical author Arthur C. Clarke. So geosynchronous means that it follows the tilt of the Earth rather than just, I guess, orbiting while the Earth tilts. It's kind of hard to explain with my hands, but so here's the math. So I will admit this is one of our favorite problems, as it is a plug and chug problem. So using the proofs, we plug in the mass and the radius. It's also important to note that within this problem, the altitude is calculated from the Earth's core. So it's from the, I guess, the height of the satellite to the Earth's core. So in the end, in order to find out how far above sea level it'll exist, we have to subtract the radius of the Earth. So after we plug in all our numbers and simplify a bit, we end up getting the altitude above sea level, which is 3.59 times 10 to the 4th kilometers. And so we have a few other problems outside as well as our earlier problems. But I will like to say, although we presented each slide individually, this whole project was put together, I guess, collaboratively, which leads me to the part of what I'm grateful for at North Shore, which is the opportunity to have a 4-person class and, curate it to what we are interested in. It's not always easy working with the same 4 people, but I really... But I really appreciate, as Izzy said, we learn more from each other sometimes than we do from the teachers. So that is a great aspect. For me, what I'm most grateful for with the school math department is the depth of the courses. I feel that I can solve equations and mathematical operations in many different ways, and also explain how those ways work and why those methods are, which I believe is very valuable.
And if you want to see some more multivariable calculus as well as other levels of calculus, come to our booth. We also have some really cool stickers. So.
Caitlin just suggested that you get extra stickers if you go to that booth, and I think that's totally fair. So you can. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to talk a little bit about the future of North Shore and our strategic planning process. I hope you are as inspired as I am by the work you've just seen, and they're just a representation of all the interesting and dynamic things that are currently happening on campus. Yet in addition to this work, we continue to look towards the future and the ways we can improve and refine our program. The building blocks of our strategic planning process initially began last fall as we embarked on the self-study process as part of our Independent Schools Association of the Central States accreditation. Every member of the faculty and staff, as well as several board members, parents, and students were involved in committee work that explored different areas of school life, determining both what we were doing well and where there's room for growth. As evidenced by the feedback from our visiting team, including this primary commendation, our findings were affirmed as a group of our peers came to campus, dug into the work we had completed, and offered their own perspectives and ideas to move forward our work. We were all incredibly moved when we saw this quote from the visiting team and felt that they really sort of got what we're trying to do here. As Tom mentioned, we work continuously to improve and expand our culture of belonging on campus. This year, we've also embarked on a community engagement audit, which will offer us valuable insight into the connections our students, faculty, staff, and parents are able to make as part of our school community, and will further guide this work. Simultaneously this fall, the Board of Trustees, led by Jessica Shin, Board Chair Nicole Wilson, and Vice Chair Susanna Varecki, began the strategic planning work in earnest, selecting a partner for the work and envisioning the process we will undertake. Ultimately, guided by a committee of board members, we selected Leadership and Design, an organization that believes that strategic planning shouldn't work towards a roadmap. If the last few years have taught us anything, it's that we don't ever fully know what's coming ahead. As Leadership and Design explains, maps offer known routes to a particular destination. In a rapidly changing landscape, a roadmap has a short shelf life and could not only be inaccurate, but could lead to obstacles, detours, and dead ends. Maps rely on understanding that the territory has already been traversed. Others have done what you're trying to do, and you should learn from the best of them. In contrast, a compass will help us set a direction, even if it sends us somewhere no one has ever gone before. Compasses acknowledge that new opportunities and roadblocks will emerge along the way. Though we may set goals, the ultimate destination for our school may shift as a better vantage point comes into view, really revealing more about what success looks like. Over the course of the next year, this work will ramp up and we will need the help and engagement of our entire community. One of the key features of the process that we will undertake is a community design day, which will take place next January. All of you will be asked to envision what that compass we use looks like. Much more to come on what that will look like and the plan that we will implement, but we are all incredibly excited to see where it takes us. At the end of this strategic process, North Shore will have a strong sense of where it's headed, supported by a clear set of institutional priorities and a tactical plan that will continue to move the school in the right direction, and with the flexibility to pivot if the conditions should change. It will inform how we direct our time, energy, and financial resources, and will help to support our amazing teachers and students as they continue to partner to elevate the classes, projects, and programs you're hearing about tonight. So we can get you back in there to see that, I will pass it along to Tom to finish things up.
So as we move out now onto the gym floor, I hope that you will complete the assignment. And the assignment is that you engage, that you ask questions, that you probe, that you push. I think you're going to like what you hear. And I think you're going to love seeing the pride that the kids have in the work that they're doing, and the pride that the teachers have in the work that they're doing every day. And I think you'll be amazed at some of the outcomes that you see. So if you have not already, you should have one of these maps. This will direct you towards the different tables that are outside. It is a choose your own adventure. If you remember those books from when you were a kid, please do get stickers. Go to the table of exciting prizes, which is full of North Shore Country Day merch. But most importantly, thank you for coming. We are 1 minute over where we thought we would be, so that worked out well. Thank you for coming. Every day I'm here. See, now we're 2 minutes. I'm inspired by the teachers here, by the students here, and I hope that you leave tonight equally inspired. Have a wonderful evening and see you soon.